All right.
Good.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. This is our weekly demo. We do it once a week at 5:45 Europe time, Central Europe time. Basically, we just say what we worked on, and we show some demos on the features we've released or which we'll release soon. And it's also an opportunity for you to ask questions and for us to reply to them. So I'll start. First thing I want to show you is something in the Flow editor. Let me just share my screen. Yeah. So we've changed a bit this recently. So we've added Flow environment variables. I mean, it was done already a while ago, and where you basically define some variables, say the type, and then you can put some values, and then you can use them in all your step inputs easily as an expression, and that worked well. And the goal is when you, for instance, if the flow is triggered by a webhook, but you want some inputs of all your steps to be shared, but you cannot set a common input because it's set like externally. So what you would do is go to the environment variables, set it here, and then simply input it to your step inputs. And if you need to change it, you can easily do it there. And what we've added recently is that now you can link it to a variable or set it as a resource, which makes it quite useful. For instance, I say, oh, this is my Stripe resource. Oops. And then everywhere I can just say, okay, let's connect it to my resource. And then if you need to change it at a later point, you can just do it in the environment variables panel. That's the first thing. Second thing I want to show, I mean, it's not really to show, but we've had webhook tokens for a while now. And one issue we had is that if you put some expiration to it, you don't get notified or you don't get any warning that it will stop working. So what we did now is if you set some expiration, you will get a warning 7 days before it expires. And when it expires, you also get another email. So yeah, first way of being notified is by email of the user, but you need to have SMTP settings configured. And if you want, you can also, in the instance settings, enable those warnings to be sent as a critical alerts. And then you will receive them here in the dashboard like this, as well as any critical alert channels you set up. So I think we have Slack, Teams, and so on. So yeah, and last thing I wanted to talk about is what I'm working on. So I've already shown in the last weeks that we've been improving the native mode and the native workers. And one thing I'm currently trying to do is like instead of having each sub worker, because we have 8 sub worker per native worker, instead of having each of them directly pulled to the database, which can like overload it, we want to batch pull everything on the server side. So you only do one query for the number of native workers and sub workers you have. And then those native workers will just pull by HTTP, which makes it like really better for the DB, so it doesn't have to have connections to it and doesn't have to wait for locks on the job rows, etc. So I mean, it's still a work in progress. We don't know yet how we'll release it and in what case it will make sense. But yeah, the goal is to optimize this so we can reach like very high scales in Windmill. So yeah, that's it for me. Maybe Diego, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen first. Yeah. So I have a few things. First of all, I've added support for data tables as Postgres resources at some places. So for example, you can now run Postgres scripts on a data table. Yeah, pretty straightforward. And you can also create Postgres triggers for data tables. So yeah, pretty much self-explanatory when it's basically exactly the same, but for data tables. Another minor thing which is nice, like when you open the database manager, you now have a URL which is persistent, so you can share it with your teammates and everything, and it automatically goes to the right table. Yeah, and I also added support for the dog-leg typing, which decided to stop walking right now. Come on. Nah, always during the demo. Yeah, okay, so okay, yeah, there we go. So you have the typing right now, and if you do a mistake, yeah, it will tell you there's a mistake. And like, for example, it tells me like this can be nullable, so I have to, yeah. So pretty cool, and also if you make mistakes or if you reference the wrong tables, it will tell you. Yeah, and yeah, also I've made sure that you no longer have to do explicit typing in the Postgres executor, which includes the data table SDK for Python. So before you had to do that because else it would complain about the type. Now you can just do id equals an argument, and it understands that this is an integer. Yeah. And which means that in Postgres, for example, you can do something like this, like, and it will change the type of the argument. So yeah, pretty minor stuff. Something a bit more interesting I've been working on is the debouncing on nodes. So now you can debounce the nodes, which is the same mechanism as the debouncing here. So if two flows go, I can actually do the demo for this. Yeah, so here it's waiting for 30 seconds because this is the delay I set. And if I try to run it again, you will see that it stops the previous one. So the previous one will not go to the next one. I can do that, and I'm not gonna. We can wait 30 seconds, but basically it will execute with both of the values. The array will be concatenated, which means that you can batch. What call? You can batch multiple inputs into one execution. So it's pretty useful in case of data pipelines. For example, if you have let's say a trigger which triggers every time I don't know, a user signs up, you don't want to recompute your golden table 1,000 times every time someone signs up. So it will just batch up until then, and every time someone logs in, it will just cancel the previous execution, and then it will process 1,000 sign-ups, for example. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. I don't know, Tristan, you want to go?
Yes, I can go next. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay, good.
Yes.
So yes, with Hugo, we've been working on a very simple way to replay a script or a flow execution, whether it is for sharing it with your team or creating an embed or an iframe on the hub or on your website. So I will make a very simple example. So here we have a data pipeline, a mocked data pipeline flow. So if you click here, you have test flow and record, and that will allow you to record the execution of every steps of the flow. And then you will have a JSON to record to download. And if you go on the replay URL, you will be able to drag and drop the JSON and replay the whole execution of your flow. So if I do it here, you have a live replay of everything that happened. You can see the different result of each step, like if it was doing it real time, but just yeah. So during the demo, an issue, but yeah. So we have this for the flow and also for scripts. So for scripts, it's here in the three dots. You can test and record your scripts, download the JSON, and the same in the same place, recreate the execution of the script, play it, and then you have the results. And yeah, so it allows you to to share with the team, with the Windmill team or other members of your team, the execution that you had, maybe troubleshoot in an easier way. Um, and I will use this to create content on the Windmill website, whether it's for the product page to better explain what you can do on Windmill, or other pages. But yeah, pretty cool, and it's already live now, so you can try it by downloading your script or your flow directly on that page. That's it for me. Ruben, if you have the
Yeah, I
ability.
can go next. Hugo, would you mind sharing your screens and go to any like the Windmill Labs workspace maybe where to create a cloud sandbox? If you go on app.windmill.dev and so I've done a few things and I'm working on a few other things. They're actually pretty major. I've added a sandbox mode. The sandbox mode is just basically saying that instead of either doing everything sandboxed or nothing sandboxed, you can now add an annotation on top of like TypeScript or like many other language where you say for this script in particular, you want this script to be sandboxed. The main purpose of this is for AI, because in most cases, there's no reason really to sandbox your script, except when you want to limit what AI and in particular what Claude is capable of. So I think it's something that is very popular to talk about AI sandbox. So now we support AI sandbox, and it's actually a brand new paradigm for Windmill where you can see automation as being like made with flows, or you could like do them with Claude, or you can have them be like one step of them being Claude and the rest is a flow. So it opened the door for many things, and uh, I'm actually very excited to see what the community do with it. Another aspect of this for AI sandbox to work is persistence. So you don't want your AI sandbox to be completely obvious to the previous runs. And the way Claude does that is by storing things in the file system. So we added something that's kind of orthogonal to AI, and is going to be a major like enablers for a lot of use cases. But the first one is for those AI sandbox. It's a volume annotation, and volume is a very elegant way to say I want to have persistent storage on my script, and I want to back it by S3. We've made that. We've made no announcement yet, but it's going to be properly changelog next week, as we're gonna like make a official release of everything. But it allows you to say, everything that is on this file system path for the script is going to be mounted at the beginning and then synced back at the end, and it's done in a way that is lazy, so you can leverage cache and you don't make more transactions than you need. So super powerful. I think for the if you can click on the assets on the script editor. Yeah, they are recognized as assets. They are here will be mentioned on the assets page whenever you use them and you see the explorer and uh, and and so you can also browse your volume and everything. So very powerful pattern. I think there's a lot of things to be said about volume, even regardless of AI sandbox. But yeah, those are pretty cool. And yeah, we have a template for Cloud Sandbox. So if you go to Plus Script, you will now see a little template for Cloud Sandbox. There's nothing, there's nothing. We cannot hesitate in making it a new language, but it's basically just a normal script using the Cloud SDK. Maybe we'll add more templates because it's actually a good pattern. That makes sense. But the first template that we're adding is for like how to quickly generate a Cloud Sandbox using Cloud SDK, the sandbox annotation, and volume. And then the thing that I'm working on, which is also pretty major, is like a really new version, like a complete overhaul of workflow as code. So workflow as code is a way to instead of like defining your flows as volume as in the UI, you could build them fully from code. The workflow as code V1 has some major drawbacks. It's actually you need to run as long as the flow runs, which is very annoying and not as powerful as what a normal flow do. But WordPress Code V2 will not have this problem. So this will be a little bit similar to what we offer for the app editors. in the sense that for apps now you can choose between low code or full code, and now for flows you will be able to choose between the low code easier or like using workflow as code as you see fit. So yeah, I am so pretty exciting times ahead, and lots there's going to be a lot of examples and everything when it's ready, and it's going to take a bit of time, but yeah, it's a very interesting new concept. So maybe I don't know if Henry, you want to say anything?
No, just hi. I don't have main features to showcase for this week. Making progress, but not facing our common users. And I think it will be the same for Martin.
Cool. So
yeah. Oh, go ahead, Robin. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying, lots of those features that we've announced are actually pretty big. I think next week I will do a proper showcase of workflow as code, and maybe we can, like, even the debouncing patterns has a lot of capabilities. So I think next week we are probably going to do proper announcement and release for a few of the nice features that we have. This is like the preview of what we will announce next week. So yeah, have a great weekend, everyone, and see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye.